Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Thursday, the 2nd of June 2022. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to use the Dali Tarot for today's reading. Let's see what these cards have to say about Thursday and what energy you'll be working with. So let me just see if these are... Okay. So I'm just going to shuffle these a few times and choose 3 cards to see what's going on today. Let's have a look. Right, so the first card is the 5 of Swords. Okay. Then we've got the 8 of Swords. Why am I getting Don Quixote? I've never read that book, but is that what he looks like? Tell me in the comments. Maybe Rembrandt? Yeah, not quite sure exactly who that's meant to be. And then we've got the 4 of Wands. Oh, so the 4 of Wands is a wedding, it's a celebration, it's happiness, it's good times. And then these sword cards are different. This one is about competition and conflict and being up against it with bullies and people who are trying to intimidate you and doing the wrong thing. And then the 8 of Swords is feeling trapped by society. So it's interesting that we've got these 2 cards kind of saying things may be less than ideal, but then we have a super happy, positive outcome. So let's see what they're trying to say here. So the 5 of Swords, whether it's Don Quixote or Rembrandt, we've got this guy, and what he's doing is he's collecting swords. So he engages these people in duels, and he wins, and he takes their sword. And usually in the 5 of Swords, we've got one person in the front, and then 2 other people standing by the seaside and crying because they've lost, and their swords have been taken from them. And then usually this guy has a big smirk on his face. So the 5 of Swords is really this sentiment that I can make myself bigger if I put other people down. It's like, if I want to get to the top, I've got to step on other people. So obviously that's not a good belief to have. And the 5 of Swords is an indicator that you may have to deal with that kind of attitude from another person or an institution in your life where you feel hard done by and you feel like they're coming after you. And it's not justified. Because the 5 of Swords is very much about, I feel bullied here. So I'm not being criticized constructively. This is about power. This is about someone trying to make themselves feel better by either taking advantage of me or trying to make myself smaller. So it's interesting because we have these butterflies here, and that's what this man is trying to do. He's trying to transform himself into something beautiful by taking from other people. So the good news is that karma is a real thing. What you put out, you get back. If you leave him to it, sooner or later, he's not going to end up very well because he's taking, giving back a lot of negativity, and that's going to catch up with him sooner or later. And then second of all, he's obviously not very happy. He needs to transform into something better because the current version, he feels like a caterpillar right now. And each one of these swords represents ideas and thinking, right? So the fact that he is engaging with people on a negative level, he's carrying all that around with him. So all that ill will from other people towards him and the negative memories he has himself, they're going to have an effect and they're going to weigh him down. And they're going to make him feel even less colorful and glorious and even more like a caterpillar. So with the 5 of Swords, really the best thing to do is just to see that person as, to pity them, to say, oh, isn't it sad that you have to do this to try and feel better about yourself? So not engaging, I feel, is the best way forward. And I really don't think that you're going to get suckered into any of this, nor do I think you are this person. I think you're on the receiving end of it, and I don't think you're going to take the bait at all. You'll be like, okay, well, take the sword then and be happy if that's what you want. So I really feel that you have this amazing kind of pacifist attitude, and it helps you to avoid a lot of conflict. Next, we've got the 8 of Swords. And the 8 of Swords usually is a woman who's blindfolded, and she's standing in this marsh, and she can't move. And there's a castle in the background. So the castle represents society and other people's views and opinions, swords, ideas, communication. And she's also been exiled, and now she's holding this butterfly in her hand, and she is guilting herself and saying, it's my fault that I don't fit in. If I want to fit into society, I've got to transform, and I can't because I am who I am, and what am I going to do next? And it's despair, and it's round and round, and then she never gets anywhere. So the key thing is to realize that you don't need to transform anything. You're perfectly fine as you are. And if they don't like you at this castle, then go to the one down the road and see how they like you there. The point isn't to adapt yourself so that other people will like you. I learned this in my early 20s, okay? If you have to get people to like you, you're fighting a losing battle. You've already lost. You're just spinning your wheels and you're wasting your time and your breath and your energy, because they will never like you if they don't from the get-go. Yeah. I feel that trying to change how other people feel about you specifically is really one of the worst things that you can do, because it minimizes you. It says, I have to transform, or I can transform, and then you're just chipping away at yourself and saying, do you know what? I am who I am, and if you don't like it, that's fine. That being able to say that and feel it and own it, that builds confidence. So both of these things are kind of saying that the external pressure is on you, and some people may be willing to change and they don't feel good and they want to alter the way they feel, and they may then put that on you and say, well, I've had to adapt. Why don't you adapt too? Yeah, that's a kind of bullying, you know, like in society. The example that's coming to mind is Joan Rivers, right? I love Joan Rivers. I thought she was hilarious. But this is a woman who was very dissatisfied with her appearance for, I think, the majority of her life, and also someone who dieted for most of her life, which is sad for her, right? That she has to go through that. But then the thing that I always noticed is she'd take that standard that she'd set up for herself and she'd apply it to other people. So she would then put other people down who she thought didn't take care of themselves as much as she did, or even people who didn't have such a restrictive diet and who actually ate normally. And I thought that was always very telling, and it's kind of this diffused sort of bullying where society bullies you first, you internalize it and say, okay, I have to be thin or whatever they want me to be, or young or gorgeous. And now I'm going to continue that bullying because I'm a victim of it. I've made the changes, so now I'm going to point my finger at other people. They should change too. That's going to make me feel, again, better about what's happening. So what I think is that the recognition that that is all a bunch of nonsense, and that you're a perfect little butterfly as you are already, and that these people can go do one if they don't like it, that's the realization, and that's the freedom that then allows you to celebrate with people who genuinely do care about you and who don't go for any of this nonsense. So on this day, it's going to be really easy to see who your friends are and who aren't. Because the people you get on with, there's a natural rapport and chemistry, and you just get on and you have a good time. And the people who want something or demand something, they'll stick out like a sore thumb, and you'll be like, oh, you came down from that castle, didn't you, with your list of instructions for me? I'm not buying those today, thank you very much. So that's why I think this is a really good day, because it's freedom from all the you should be this and you ought to be that. You're not buying into that. And because of that, you have a lot of time to just be yourself and to enjoy who you are and to connect with like-minded people. The Four of Wands is also a gate card. It creates a doorway. So by spending time with people who you genuinely connect with, that may lead to something even better. So a friendship where you really get each other on this day, and you warm towards each other, where a friendship becomes a best friend. Or a social function where you meet someone you like. Or a lovely dinner where you discuss moving in together. It's that kind of stuff. One good thing leads to another. So I think it will be an interesting day in terms of sussing out who has your best interests at heart and who doesn't. And it's going to be quite fun seeing it so clearly in black and white, and to be like, oh, I get it. You really don't care if I'm happy. I see it. Thank you for opening my eyes. Okay, we've got 8 and 5 is 13. and 4 is 17. 4 and 5 is 9, and 8 is 17. 1 and 7 is 8, and 8 in numerology is power and strength. So it's this power of, you're like a visionary. You see, there's a great deal of power in how clearly you're seeing reality. It's super objective, and you're not going to be suckered into anything, which I really like. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful day. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to order your reading with me. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have an amazing Thursday, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.